Hey everyone, welcome to episode 79 of the Pickleball Effect podcast. We're joined again by Aaron, the editor, and of course we have Kyle. Welcome you guys. This is 2 episodes in a row with everybody, so this is kind of fun. We missed last week. This was the first episode we missed in a minute. It was just too hectic with the Selkirk trip. Just couldn't get it done, unfortunately. So Aaron was with me at the Selkirk HQ when we did the tour. Everything was really fun. We were talking about that in paddle, babble, and gear. Which is why Aaron's on again, and Aaron's got his own segment now.
Boom!
Give us a quick hit of the segment. He won't tell us what it is. He's just waiting for the moment.
I'm not telling you anything until it's time. We'll roll through our sections here. We'll go through Kyle's corner, and then boom, spotlight's on me, and
it's going to be a 5-minute. It's going to be a 5-minute roast of me and Braydon.
No. I'm on back-to-back weeks. This is thin ice. I will not shake the boat here.
Yeah, don't risk it. Don't risk it.
No.
This is a good opportunity.
That's right.
Yeah, so weekly update. Aaron, Kyle's got some exciting news, just some personal news.
Yeah.
This is a big deal. It'll be fun. And then we're going to talk nerdy tourney pairing. So nerdy tourneys at the end of the month. The teams have been announced. We're just going to talk about how we feel about our teams, who we think's chances fit the best for this. 3 out of 5-0 is mine this week. We're going to talk about Dink, the Dink and Lean. You guys heard that phrase?
Dink and Lean.
And then we're going to throw in Aaron's segment, Aaron it out. And then Kyle's corner, we're going to talk about the QD leaving Selkirk for Sypic, some local stuff, some MLP rule changes, and UPA releases a transgender policy.
Yeah. It came out of nowhere.
I haven't seen this, so this will be the first time I'm hearing it.
Okay.
And then paddle, babble, and gear, we're going to talk Selkirk HQ, trip, and then a few paddles that are releasing soon. So the Friday Fever, Blucore, Luxx Control Air Update. And then I don't know about you guys, but I just got flooded with paddles this last week and a half or so. And so we'll just kind of talk about what's in the pipeline, what we're playing, those kind of things. So weekly update. Well, first off, shout out to our title sponsor, Pickleball Central. Thank you, Pickleball Central, for sponsoring the pod. Best selection you can find out there. Incredible customer service. They, if you use the link in the description, you can get up to 10% on pretty much everything across the board. But you have to click on the link in the description to apply that discount, and then take advantage of their rewards program. Nobody has as robust of a rewards program as they do. If you buy your balls, paddles, bags, if you just buy all your stuff through there, take advantage of that rewards program. That'll build up and save you a lot of money over time. So do your shopping at Pickleball Central. Use the link in the description to apply the discounts. So weekly update, start with you, Kyle.
I am down 47 pounds.
What?
That's half of me, dude.
Since Vegas.
That is so awesome. Yeah. 47 pounds. What equals 47 pounds? Like, what is?
I mean, that's like a medium-sized dog.
That's a medium-sized dog. Like, how much do your kids weigh? Like, one's got to be close to 50. You lost the kid.
Yeah, no, it's true, because Cooper weighs about 50 pounds. So, I lost a Cooper.
Instead of having that dog in him, he's got that dog out of him.
Exactly.
Aaron knows how to make words work. Dude, congrats though. Like, how's it feel?
Oh, it feels great. Pickleball's been feeling really good too. So I'm excited. It's going to be a new dimension. JJ is going to be happy when we show up at the nerdy tourney. He's got a whole new partner. So
what's the pros and cons here? Are we up 10% in speed? Are we down 10% in power? Are we only plus here? There's got to be a few negatives, because I went back and I watched the Olsen podcast battle, and you were looking pretty good. And so we're changing the formula a little bit here. Are you sure that's what you want?
I mean, it's going to be a much quicker Kyle. Right side is going to be locked down.
All right. I'm excited.
So there's no cons here. There's no cons.
No, we'll see. We'll see. The gameplay will let us know. We'll let us know, or else we got to put 47 back on to get that duper higher.
Kyle, we actually haven't played in a bit. I've kind of been not voguing yet, just because you got so much stuff going on with the divorce and everything, and so.
That's all settled. That's another personal update. That's all good. Everything's good. We're on the house is sold and being closed on in like 2 weeks. The divorce is all agreed upon. Custody is all good. Kyle is on a good path right now.
Yay, go Kyle.
Go Kyle.
Awesome. Well, good for you, man. We're happy for you. And then you sent me a picture 11-6 David, what did he do?
Oh, so David from 11-6-24 sent me like a divorce care package. It was like the nicest thing ever. I teared up. It was like, it's like a water bottle with like Dink Smash on it. And then it was like a $50 gift card to a local pizza place for like me to take my kids.
Oh my gosh.
Like a little note. It was like, I'm not lying. I cried when I got it. It was just like, it hit pretty deep. But no, it was just super cool. I was not expecting that at all. It's good to know that, like, that's why I love this community. Like, everybody's tight. So thank you to David.
How cool of David. Like, we always like David, and we like the direction he's going, everything he's doing with 11-6-24. But I mean, as that's a pretty casual relationship. And for him to do that is speaks volumes to him, I think.
Yeah.
Well, cool. The give 11-6-24 another notch on their belt for coolness.
Careful, this is just insider emotional puppeteering. Don't let him sway you. We judge by the paddle, not the personal. But that's pretty.
He's got in for brand of the year, and he's like hitting it from every angle.
Kyle's got the care package in the back when we're doing the 2025 best paddles.
I'll be drinking from the water bottle.
Yeah, he's gonna call us up later in the year. He's like, why did you give me the biggest decline of the year for brands? I sent that package. All right, let's talk nerdy turdy. So this has kind of come up here and there. That the gist of this is Doug from Bread and Butter has he's of all the owners, he's one that has befriended most of the online people, and all of us have never been together. I think the biggest was Adidas, where a lot of us were there, but that was the first time a lot of us have met each other as far as kind of people on the reviewer front. But this is going to be a step up from the Adidas. So there's going to be every single. I think if you've had over 100 views on any review, I think you're invited to this thing.
I don't know if I'd say that. You're going to hurt some feelings that didn't get invited by saying that.
That's all right. Kyle's never done a review, and he's coming.
I know he got that Aurora. He got the Rhapsody. He's got the Rhapsody plug.
You guys know, I do stuff behind the scenes that some of you guys don't see. Like, I've closed wholesale deals for Bread and Butter. I've got ambassadors that are instructors for Bread and Butter.
Okay.
And I've done similar stuff with other brands.
All right. If that makes you feel like you are worthy to be there,
sounds like shilling. Braydon, is that shilling? That's what I'm hearing.
No, that is brand growth.
Semantics.
Yeah, the people who are shills don't know they're shills.
That's true.
Usually. So I think it's 2v1 here. You got to take that outsider's opinion on this. Just accept it for what it is, Kyle.
I guess I'm a shill. By the way, go buy these You Drippin' hats. They are the best hats.
You know what? I wore a You Drippin' hat on this podcast, one of my first podcasts. Braydon pulled me aside after the episode and he said, "You ever pull that shit again? You're done.
You're done."
I don't like that.
Dude, on a serious note, though, his new hats are nice, and he made them for fat heads like mine. So I had to give him some love.
Well, there you go. Chill. So, nerdy turdy event. A bunch of people are there. I had to look up some people. I didn't know everyone on the list.
Yeah, I don't know everybody on the list.
That's how many people.
25 plus reviewers.
I think it was 28 total.
Whew. That's a big list.
Yeah, so there's a ton of people there. So Doug did like a live drawing. What he did was he took everyone's dupers, split them into two bowls.
Yep.
The bottom half duper was in one bowl. The higher half dupers were in another. He just pulled one at a time and linked everyone up. So you have theoretically even-ish teams going into this. But it was pretty random for the most part. I think there was a couple of times where he said, "No, these are too good." But so we have all the team combos here. I have them in front of me, and I think you two both have teams that are going to be very competitive. So you kind of have three styles of teams here. You have very high dupers and then a lower duper. You have a couple like medium, both are 4-3-4-4s. Those are kind of the two, I guess, only really two mixes you're going to have. Both of you guys have teams that are where you're both pretty much equal for the most part, right? And so who do we got? JJ Greska from JJ Pickleball, who's Kyle playing with. Aaron, you have
Dustin, PB Med. I got the doctor.
you got the doctor who, I mean, I've never played with him, but from his gameplay footage, he looks like the real deal.
Nice.
And Aaron's duper is, 4-0 on a, 3-8 on a bad day, 4-8 on a good day.
Wow, generous.
Depending on his decision making. So we'll see what Aaron.
Yeah, no,
it's
very true. But I mean, I like the way Dustin plays. It's big, it's aggressive. I think we're either going to steamroll our team or get our butts kicked, and I don't think I'd want it any other way.
No in between.
No in between.
Just a flash in the pan.
But I think both of you guys have really good chances at it. So, some other like dark horses, people I don't know. So Brent is PB Med's co-host. Mm-hmm. He had, I think, the highest duper at 5'4".
5'4", yeah, real high.
So he's an unknown. He could be really good. I was paired with Matt. I don't know how to say it. Is it Corey?
Not sure. Matt's
Pickleball. So looking at the total duper like combinations, theoretically, Matt and I have the highest duper. But does that mean we're gonna win? I don't know. These like scenarios where you get one high, one low is really tricky. It kind of depends on your ability to like the lower duper person, like how well can they handle being isolated? How well can the other person insert themselves? And how well can those two potentially isolate the weaker player on the other side? So it's more of like this style of managing who can get to the weaker person. Mm-hmm. And these games aren't always the most entertaining, in my opinion, just because points end really quick.
Yeah.
So if you do have a weaker partner, the higher person is trying to step in. They're trying to do more than they normally do. They're trying to take advantage of any ball they see because they don't see as many balls. And so you don't get into this typical rhythm that you would in where all players are equal. And so the play might not be the most entertaining, but there will be a lot of trash talk. There'll be a lot of fun. There'll be people going for bags.
Oh, yeah.
And it'll be fun that way, I think.
The another thing you got to take into account is just not even like the difference in dupers, just the difference in play styles because we haven't played with each other. I mean, I know you've had it. Like I can play with one 5-0 and play amazing, but then like me and another 5-0, we play terrible together just because our style of play doesn't mesh well.
Yeah, we have no idea what's gonna go on.
It'll be fun. I'm excited.
Of all these people, the one I was surprised I didn't know was coming was Luca. He's Canadian, right? The Canadian channel.
Yeah, and Doug was talking him up. I have no idea who he is, but
you know Rackets and Runners. You
know
Rackets.
Oh, yeah. Okay, no, I do know. Now that you say Rackets and Runners, I know who you're talking about.
He looks like an athlete. He usually only shows singles footage. I think Rackets Runners is a tennis and pickleball store, and he does reviews and has a channel, and he does a good job.
But dark horse, we don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's kind of dark horse.
3-5 doubles could be 5-5 double. Like we just don't know, and that's the magic of the nerdy tourney.
Yeah, the nerdy tourney. Anyways, this is gonna be a blast. It'll be fun that all three of us will be there. Aaron, we talked Doug into letting Aaron come play and film for us, so we're gonna get a cool video out of it.
Yeah, it'll be really fun. I was even looking back at some of the Selkirk footage, and there's like so many gold mines of just like small, funny, organic moments. So I can't even imagine what that's going to be like in Florida with the nerdy tourney because it's just going to be everyone hazing everyone all the time.
How many cameras do you think are going to be there? If you had to guess. 50?
I mean, everyone will have one.
At least
half of the people will probably bring two.
Hundreds of thousands of dollars of camera gear.
60 cameras.
If you're into pickleball and also want to steal. Yeah. There you go.
Don't rob a bank don't rob a bank in Florida that weekend. Rob the nerdy tourney.
Don't give anybody any ideas.
Although Kyle's 10% faster, and so you're careful. You're gonna have to.
Oh yeah. He's gonna run you down. Oh, that's so good. All right, let's go to 3-0 to 5-0. This one's me. So this is brought to you by Holy. They're our hydration partner. It's summer. Everybody's sweating. You need electrolytes to stay hydrated, proper muscle function. Tons of really good flavors. Plus, you can get a good deal if you use the discount code PPEffect. In the description, there's a link and code there, so take advantage of that. Thank you, Holy. They're doing good stuff. All right, so this week's tip for 3-0 to 5-0 is dink and lean. So my game kind of ebbs and flows over time. I get really aggressive trying to figure things out, and then I kind of dial it back a little bit. Then I get really aggressive, dial it back, and try to define that kind of medium. right now I'm coming off of a more aggressive phase. I think I had a couple of lessons from those online, like from Kazuda and from DJ Young not too long ago, where they're like, be aggressive, push the limit. And so I've been doing that, but my natural tendency and what I'm really good at is the opposite of being uber aggressive. And so now I've been dialing it back and just trying to figure out, okay, when's the appropriate time to be aggressive? When's the appropriate time to be defensive? Look to set up shots a little bit more. And so something I've been thinking about and utilizing more is this idea of dink and lean, or generally speaking, it's when you hit a nice aggressive shot, whether it's a good drive, a nice drop, whenever you hit a good shot, look to be aggressive after it, like follow that up with an aggressive mindset, and don't look to counter everything. I think that's one of my biggest faults is I look to counter everything. Every time somebody speeds it up at me from the midcourt or from anywhere, I'm looking to be
Smash
offensive
it.
right back at them. Yeah. And so dialing that back, being more defensive when I'm not in offensive position, and only be offensive when there's opportunities, when you are coming off of a good shot. So in particularly, this idea of dink and lean is when you're at the kitchen, maybe you are a couple dink exchanges in, and you hit a really good maybe slice or a roll dink that makes them stretch. You hit a good dink. That's when you get low, squat, lean forward, get your paddle out, and look to flick the next one, look to do something with the next ball that comes in. And so preemptively being in a position to be offensive rather than reactive. And so this idea of dinking and leaning applies to dinking, but also just anywhere on the court. Whether you're going to poach, your partner hits a good drive or something, but just be offensive after you do something that could create an opportunity to be offensive with, rather than just always thinking offense, like I think a lot of people do and that I've been doing more recently. So just being a little more intentional with when you attack, be defensive when you are in a compromised position. You don't have to counter everything. And that's my tip for the day. Any thoughts from you guys there?
I think that's one of your most straightforward tips of 3-0 to 5-0 you've given.
I love it.
So it was good? We're happy with it?
No, it's good. I mean, it's not a ton to elaborate on there. I think that's just a solid tip.
Yeah. And part of, so Aaron, when we were at the Selkirk thing, we played a few games with Jace. He's the product manager for Selkirk. He's a really good player, 5'6". Most of these 5'6" dudes I see are just uber aggressive. He's not that way at all. He gets everything back, plays really sharply, really smart, keeps everything down. And he very much plays this way. And he is so hard to play against. Like you can be really good without being an uber aggressive player.
Yeah, you don't see, at least I haven't seen a lot of players with that high of dupers play that defensive. Again, you generally think of the more better players can hit the ball harder, more accurate, and it's just an onslaught of aggression. But he gets everything back, and he's extremely, extremely patient. And so watching him play is like, it would almost be a more fun brand of pickleball if everyone played that way, because there's so many extended rallies. You guys were playing 2v1 on him, and he's just getting everything back. Again, it helps that he's like hyper agile. But like I have not seen someone play that defensively, that consistent with resets, that meticulous about being patient to wait for an attackable ball versus forcing something. But I mean, as a fan, it was awesome to watch. Great pickleball.
Yeah, he's really good. And he can turn it up more when he needs to. He doesn't just have that style. I think he might have been a little nice to us that day, but that is definitely in his bag, and it's definitely his general mindset going into it. And I don't know, I just have like mad respect for people who play like that, and it's more fun to watch to me.
Absolutely.
I played one morning with him, Lucas, and Mariana, and I'll say he can definitely turn it on.
Yeah, he can crank up the offense, but yeah, he's very much like an Augie Good type of person where they're very intentional with their offense. It's not just this go, go, go. This is how you play. I got a power paddle in my hands. Let's use it kind of thing. All right. Aaron and out.
Is it time? It's time. I thought I was going to go after Kyle. All right, I'll go now.
No, we'll let you go now.
I have it after 3 out of 5. Do we need to put this after Kyle?
Nope. There might be some common ground, but not going to be any interference. Here we go. All right, boys. It's time to stop tiptoeing around the takes and start toe dragging through the truth. Welcome to the first official edition of Airing It Out, where I bring questions that need answers, and you two have to commit. No on the fence sitting, let's get into it. Topic number.
Wait, hold on. Before we get, did you write that out or did you just say that?
I wrote it out.
I was like, that was too clean.
You're like, who is this?
Clean.
Stop. No, I wrote it out.
That
I
was
wrote it out.
Chat GPT. No.
A little bit. A little
Okay,
Aaron's
okay.
brain, a little robot. It could be Robo Aaron. Can we
So
get into
fun
the first topic
Fun
here?
fact about Aaron is he used to be an announcer, broadcaster for
Yeah, you're like a commentator, right?
football commentator, yeah.
Yep. I did collegiate. I did high school commentating at our local media center, and then I did it for the first couple years of college. And so, I got a little broadcaster in me still. And so, it's coming full circle with the podcast here.
It came out right there, dude. It was real nice.
Thank you. All right, let's go. Topic 1. QD signs with Sypic. I'm going to say Sypic. Here it is. Smart move or risky play is the headline. First up, QD just left Selkirk to sign with Sypic. The deal is reportedly worth over $500,000. He's electric, young, already making moves, but Sypic is still new to the paddle scene and has a lot to prove. So what is this? Next level brand building from QD or a risky jump from a proven company trying to chase the bag, or a proven player trying to chase the bag?
Aaron, go for it.
It's time.
Or
Oh, no,
Aaron,
it's not
Kyle.
me. It's time too.
Oh, I'll go first. I mean,
Aaron
I was
it
going
out.
to talk.
Yeah.
I was going to
Kyle
talk about it
first.
in Kyle's corner anyway. I think it's. I see two sides to it, but mainly, I haven't hit this paddle yet. I think these paddles it looks to me like they stole the font off of Selkirk. It looks like a flamingo clone. And I think they're using QD to just push the Asian market, which is a smart play because it is absolutely booming in Vietnam. But I do think it's risky because I don't know what kind of staying power this brand's actually going to have. And the rumor is $600K per year. Is QD worth that? Is he selling that many paddles?
Wait, Kyle, hold on. Do you hear that?
No way.
Wait,
no way.
That sounds like the Brinks truck backing up.
Yeah. There's no way he's selling. He's not worth that. I'm sorry. I mean, I don't see him moving that many paddles. I love him. His dad dinked a great deal, but I don't think he's worth $600K.
Boom.
And I think this is a risky move from Selkirk to them.
Braydon, air it out.
So, from QD's perspective, I think this is brilliant. Make your money. Use your position with your influence outside of the States. There's a huge market out there that I don't think anybody owns. And I think it was, for Sypic, yes, it's risky, but take your shot. Obviously they have some money. They must be moving some paddles, like things are working. If QD keeps his trend up, he becomes the international superstar. It could work out. From QD's perspective, no doubt, take the bag, become the face of this company. Okay. They're going to push you hard. They're going to make him more popular than he already is through their marketing efforts. They're going to put spend behind him. He's going to be their number one player. He's going to get, his face printed on everything for them. He doesn't get that with Selkirk. I don't think he gets that with any other brand other than something like this that takes a risk on him. But yeah, this is definitely more risky for Sypic than QD. So I just pulled the calculator. Okay, 600,000. Divide that by, we'll say it's $200 a paddle. So he has to move 3,000 paddles a year. Divide that by 12. What's that a month? He has to move 250 paddles a month. He could move 250
that's
paddles
actually
a month
not
potentially.
crazy.
But that's
okay. But that's you saying. I was gonna say that's you saying he. That's exactly. Like he got to deduct what he's actually getting paid off that. Like, is that worth it to the company? Yeah, you're right. That's 600. That's 600K revenue, but that's not, deducting the marketing cost and paying him and stuff like that. So he's gonna have to sell probably double that for them to really make money.
You're right. He'll probably have to sell closer to 500 paddles a month, which is a lot. And
all right, Braydon,
just from him.
You got to take a side here. Next level brand building from QD, or is this a risky jump? Take a side.
It's both of those things. It's QD's brilliant brand building, and I don't think it's worth it for Sypic, but they're obviously doing it.
Yeah, the deal's better for QD, 100%.
All right, quick one. Topic number 2. The U.S. Open, Nasty Nelson. I'm sure you guys saw this clip on Memes of Pickleball.
Oh, dude, she's my next mix partner. Has to be.
Hey, don't spoil the segment. Do not spoil the segment. Next, gold medal match at the U.S. Open. This is women's doubles. One women's player crowding the center line on the return, and boom, Nasty Nelson to the body, Game point, match over. Walk-off energy, full celebration, and the internet went nuts. So here's the question. Was it an all-time savage finish or totally out of line on the biggest stage? Kyle, it's time to start airing it out.
Absolutely savage. I saw her post she got on Instagram and gave her perspective. She said they were absolutely just hammering her partner the whole time. And she's like, the lady's going to stand there. I'm going to take the shot. She almost blasted her in the face, but when she hits her and she says and yells "Vamos" and ends the game, it was amazing. Like that was
you approve. That's Kyle approved.
That's my new mix partner. I'm gonna meet this woman and we're gonna play mix together.
Braydon, your take.
I'm the other way. That is not my style. I don't appreciate people who behave that way and are over aggressive. Like if you're gonna win the game, I think you got to win it right. Don't be cheap. I'm the other way around. I say boo, thumbs down.
All right. Well, that's it for this week on Airing It Out. Bags were secured, bodies were hit, and the takes didn't duck. We'll be back next time with more questions nobody wants to ask, but we'll answer them anyways.
Well done.
That was good. That was good.
Over to Kyle's corner.
We might have to have Aaron on every week now.
I know.
That was
Crap.
a good.
I was really hoping that it would never get to this point, but it looks like it has.
So
Aaron might have to come on every week.
I liked that segment because it's going to make Braydon answer questions that he doesn't want to answer.
Yeah, we don't want neutrality.
I think he's going to find some questions that you're not going to want to answer.
I would argue, Kyle, that you have been more neutral than me on paddle takes lately. You're always like, "Oh, this is the best for that brand." Like, no one cares about that.
All right, save it for next week. Save it for next week or next month. Save it.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just giving you beef. I'm just giving you beef. About 47 pounds of it.
Nice. All right.
Kyle's Corner.
So Kyle's Corner brought to you by Slice. Ooh, PE edition Slice. Get yourself an American-made product made in next to Aaron, actually.
Yep.
Right? Made in Arizona.
Yep. Arizona.
Machined well. So use your PE Effect code. Get yourself a discount and grab a slice. I do prefer the slice over the coins. Everybody always asks. The slice is better than the speed coin.
I agree.
So... all right, so my first topic was going to be QD. We don't need to talk about that anymore, but he signed a $600K deal with the Scific. I still think that there might be some issues with that font looks like they stole it from Selkirk. It looks like they're trying to mimic Selkirk, but we'll see. We'll see how that ends up. Another topic. We missed last week, so we didn't get to really talk about this, but the Johns brothers pulled out of the MLP Columbus because of the lighting. That already happened. We don't need to talk about that part. What we can talk about, and what's driving me nuts, is MLP's statement that the Johns brothers agreed to forfeit basically their appearance fees for the matches they didn't play.
Oh, instead of forcing them?
Yes.
Making it sound like a penalty?
No, exactly. So in what sport do I get to agree to my penalty?
Decline. No. Don't.
No, like in the NFL, I don't get to say, nah, you know what? I don't want that fine.
No.
So the message that's sent to me is you're basically saying that the Johns brothers have a say in your organization to the effect of how disciplinary actions are held out. And that to me is mind boggling.
Yeah, that is a weird way to word it. I agree. I didn't realize that until you just pointed it out.
So, what do we think? Weenies for pulling out because of lighting?
I don't know how far that injury, how bad it is.
Yeah.
So it's tough to say. He's obviously had issues with this in the past, and so this is nothing new. It wasn't as if he pulled it out of nowhere. But I think a lot of people are giving him crap for not giving it the full effort the match before he pulled out, and then the fact that Colin pulled out with him, I think, where he had no reason to pull out, right? Other than just to do it with his brother. And so Ben pulling out, sure, I guess you can see that's a health reason. But Colin, I think there's no excuse for that. He should be out there playing still.
No, and then on top of that, this hurts me as somebody that's played team sports my whole life. Not only do they pull out, but they just don't even support their team. They just bounce.
Yeah, that wasn't cool.
No, my dad would lose his mind if I didn't stay and root my team on. That's like a belt. That's like getting the belt at home type activity. Oh, That was a good one. What do you think, Aaron?
I mean, I heard, I don't have like the actual data, but I heard if the lighting is normally 100% or like 120 lumens or whatever for tennis,
it was like Luxx or whatever.
Yeah, Luxx. It was like a third of that. And so what I did hear was like, oh, it sounds like it was dramatically darker, but it does feel like a John's weenie-esque move. Yeah. And so, again, everyone else played, and it's like,
no, and that was my thing. If like there was a bunch of pros that are like, hey, this lighting sucks, absolutely. Like, and I'm still on board. Like, I think the rollout courts suck, and I don't think we should be using rollout courts. So,
but the fact that it was the Johns only makes it seem worse. Versus a large scale rollout or a pullout.
Yeah, and they did it during the tournament versus like when Anna Lee pulled out prior to a tournament because she's like, I'm not playing singles on rollout courts. Yeah, I would have respected Ben way more, being like, hey, I showed up to this venue, the lighting sucks, I'm not playing. Versus playing and looking like a bum.
There's a really interesting article about this from No Man's Land Pickleball. Do you guys follow them?
Oh, man, I think I do, but I don't think I read the article yet.
So they wrote an article about this that looks beyond the issue itself, and they were trying to diagnose the bigger picture problem. And so they went as deep in to say that they just don't think PPA is that invested in MLP from some of the top guys. So Tom Dundon owns Ben John's team. And there's just been a few other scenarios and instances that indicate that maybe MLP just isn't that important. And this was just another kind of symptom of the greater issue. And I'll link it in the description because it's an interesting read. Okay. And those guys used to be GMs, and so they are privy to
they have a good perspective,
of MLP more than others.
Good, I like that. Yeah, I'll definitely read that. Another thing I want your guys' opinions on is Connor Pardo posts basically a little article that he wrote himself that the PPA Challenger talent is equivalent to the APP Tour. The PPA Challenger, I'm not comparing PPA to APP, but the PPA Challenger is equivalent talent level to the APP. What do you guys think to that?
I guess I've never seen a PPA Challenger event, though. I think APP has very consistent winners, and you got Purple Jesus, Will Howells, I think Oshirio, Susanna Barr does pretty well there. And like Will Howells is a competitor on PPA or at least MLP stuff.
Oh yeah.
Kyle Kazuda just took second place with somebody at the most recent. I would consider him kind of a PPA Challenger type dude. So. Maybe he's right.
Guess we'll see. All right, what else did I have for notes on there?
The APP guys, at least the consistent ones, the ones that are touring, they got to be a little bit better.
Yes.
No, that's how I feel too.
It's probably not a huge skill gap.
Yeah. I'm like, and that's kind of my perspective is like, if you're going top APP versus top PPA Challenger, I don't think that's equatable. I'm sure if you went full roster versus full roster, that it would get more gray.
Yeah.
But I do think that was a post just to pump the numbers because they've had pretty low registration numbers for PPA Challenger events.
Right. And PPA Challenger is probably random. I bet there's some challengers that are super competitive, and then there's others.
Yeah, that's based on location for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. What else did I have on there? I got my notes on my camera.
MLP serve.
Oh,
MLP
the serve.
serve.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys saw that, but the first MLP, they had the serve where it was basically any height. So you had all those people dropping nipple high, and then they went back.
They are doing.
And then they went back to it has to be dropped below the hip. And then Zane
Why couldn't you say like chest high? Why has it got to be nipple high?
No, they're doing. Kyle's right. They're doing nipple ripples. They're doing.
Well, they were calling them nipple high. That's why.
Was that right?
Yeah. I didn't coin that term.
Okay.
Right.
But then Zane came out and basically said, like, if you want to regulate this serve, the only viable option is to make the pros do the drop serve.
Yeah.
You can still rip it with the drop serve. I wouldn't be opposed to that.
That's what I'm saying. Would you be opposed to watching pros do drop serves?
Is it like a visual thing where it's like, man, that looks really weak?
I think that's why they don't do the drop serve personally, is I think it would be bad for viewership, or they think it would be bad for viewership. Because we're already scrutinized enough as it is with our sport, and I think that would just make it look a little more playground-esque of just dropping the ball and scooting it over the net.
Maybe.
So
we're staying with the nipple serves for now.
Yeah, I think the nipple serves. Will Howells was the best at that. He was ripping serves. Him and Alshon.
I think would just be like
him and Alshon were absolutely hitting nukes. So
nukes from the nipple.
Yeah. So this next week we don't have MLP, but we have PPA Atlanta, and I'm pretty excited for the pairing of Rachel Rohrenbacher and CP. That'll be
a fun one. The revenge tour.
Yeah, exactly. So, what do you guys think? You think they got a chance? You think they're gonna get smoked?
No, they're not gonna get smoked. But I mean, new partnerships take time.
Yeah.
And again, they're playing mad. So, and plus, Rachel's got the era. Nah, they could do some damage.
It's a good panel.
They could do some damage. What do you think, Braydon?
Yeah, no, they'll certainly be competitive. They'll win the first few rounds, like automatic, I would think, and then we'll see what happens when they get into the quarter semis. Yeah. Last two bullets you have here, Kyle, is a local group email listing, and then you have UPA releases a transgender athlete policy.
We'll skip the local one because that's still progressing, and I'm trying to wait for an end to that. I don't know if you've been keeping up with what's going on with there, but
a little bit. I've seen Kyle going back into OG cupcake mode for some of these.
I was actually like, I wonder if Braydon's going to appreciate this. I'm going back to like the original Kyle, where I just rip people on Instagram and Facebook.
Have I changed you, Kyle?
No.
Have I cooled you down on your online posting?
You are definitely like a calming effect to me. Like you're like the yin to my yang. I do think we kind of balance each other well. And I think I've been waking up and choosing violence a little more these days with some of that stuff. But we'll talk about that next week when we have like a resolution. But UPA dropped a transgender policy. So a few years ago, I don't know, I keep up with all that drama. So there was an athlete playing in the US Open that was a transgender female, and it was causing a lot of, like, Facebook got real nasty. But there wasn't like a real policy on, what can happen. So UPA just dropped a policy that and I agree with most of it. I know I might get some hate for it, but basically if you are born a male, you're going to compete against men, whether you're a transgender female or not. What you were assigned at birth is what you're going to compete as. Same for women. I do kind of have an issue with the woman one, because if you're a woman, if you're a transgender male and you're taking testosterone, you could be very much a lot stronger than the women. But by the new rule, you would still play against the women. So you guys will have to take a look at that policy.
Yeah, I mean, that goes into drug testing. That's not so much a transgender issue.
Exactly.
When it gets to that point. And I didn't look into this at all or knew they announced this. Is that pretty much the rule for most sports?
It like the Olympics has like certain, like they actually have like testosterone level tests and stuff.
Oh, I meant just the transgender.
Everybody's starting to have a policy. They're all different. This one is definitely more black and white. Like the Olympic one is all based on like drug tests. So I think, and like Deckel is asking for drug tests. Like he wants drug testing.
So with the absence of drug tests, this is just the most simple way to manage it.
Exactly. I think. I don't know if we have that many athletes that this is even. I know we did have an event last year that there was one issue, but I think it was an APP. But I haven't seen it happen any issues with this yet in the UPA. So I think they're just trying to have a rule before it comes up.
Yeah, anytime you can get ahead of the curve there. I think
exactly. So for the first time, I'm saying like I think UPA is actually thinking ahead. Usually, I feel like they're more like knee jerking. But so
yeah,
we'll keep an eye on that.
Cool.
And that's it for Kyle's Corner this week.
Yep,
love it.
All right, moving on to Babble and Gear, brought to you by ADV. I actually don't have the bag sitting on me this time. I forgot to grab it, but been traveling with the ADV bag again to Selkirk. It just served me well. Really happy with that bag. It's big, but it's not oversized. It fits comfortable. It doesn't hang too low. You can fit your shoes. It has a bajillion pockets, stand-ups on its own. It's got pockets for everything. Been really happy with it. So if you're in the market for a new bag, go check out ADV bags. Definitely worth considering at least. If wow, this is a terrible ad.
Fired.
It's a great bag. I'll put a link in the description. You can use the code PPA Effect, and you can go learn more there. All right. First topic is Selkirk HQ. So Aaron and I, we left, flew in Monday, hung out that night, played some pickleball, did Selkirk tour Tuesday, did an interview Wednesday morning, went home Wednesday evening. Today is now Sunday. Let's talk about just a few stories from what we did. But I think the first question I want us to answer, Aaron, is what was your perception going into this of Selkirk, and what's your perception now? I'll let you go first, and then I'll share mine. Kyle, unfortunately, wasn't there, but feel free to chime in if you have any comments.
Yeah, so I mean, I got into pickleball a lot later than you guys. I never was ever at a point where I was very excited about Selkirk. They've kind of always lived in this category of like legacy brand, kind of haven't really done much in the paddle market. They've made edgeless paddles forever, and then you go through the nerd cycle, and then you like learn, all right, edgeless paddles stink. Selkirk makes edgeless paddles. Old paddle company makes edgeless paddles that stink. And so I just kind of had never really, I remember playing the Power Air, and for 5 minutes thinking it was the best paddle on earth. For 5 minutes, and then I learned about spray grit, and I learned about sweet spot size, triple S.
Sweet sauce.
And so I just kind of had Selkirk kind of as a lot of these other like legacy brands that, were maybe slightly out of touch, weren't as agile, weren't as relevant, and they had only been declining in relevancy. And man, it just took one trip to really flip a lot of that on its side. And so they are cooking up a lot of really exciting things. And if some of these launches that come out flop, I'll be the first to say it. I'd be shocked, because they got the flywheel spinning. They're listening to the market. They're aware. They have a plan. And I think they're going to make a lot of people really happy. What about you, Braydon?
Yeah, I had a very similar sentiment going in, seeing them as behind the curve in paddle performance, with, just seemingly being so stuck on the spray on grit, so stuck on edgeless paddles. But and kind of just thinking that they were just in their own world, just doing their own thing, trying to appeal to a larger market. The vast majority of players are in that, 3.0 to 4.0 space, and maybe don't care as much about the performance, focus on aesthetics, marketing, those sorts of things. And from our perspective, the nerds, from the, the enthusiast point of view, I'm not going to play a Selkirk, right? So that was my view going into it. But I always have had respect for them, right? We always knew that they were a larger brand, and they were, maybe just had a different vision.
And you could never deny their presence on the court. Like, Selkirk is always around on every court, no matter where you go. There's a Selkirk.
Dominate the rec courts. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was my perspective going into it. And it was just like you said, very much the opposite. They have not been idle. They have been slow to adopt new technology, which from our perspective felt like a miss, but in their grand scheme, bigger outlook that they're taking to this, their thoughts were Gen 2, Gen 3, yes, there's performance benefits, but there's also a lot of durability issues that people have been, plagued with for the last 2 years. And that's always been a caveat or an asterisk we put on all those reviews, right? Is yes, we love the performance benefits of these, but some of these are prone to break down a lot quicker, and it's just something you have to be aware of and deal with. And the market has just accepted that as how it works, and they've been very much just saying no. It's that's not how it should be. We want to have a focus on durability. So they were slower to adopt those technologies till they got it to a point where they felt comfortable offering them in their SLK line with their 1-year warranty. And then the only thermoform paddle in their premium line was the Vanguard, the Vanguard Control. I can't remember.
Halo thermoformed.
No, that was their SLK. They had one in their premium line. Anyways, the idea is that they intentionally were slow to adopt those for those reasons, and they've been working on technology to address the durability factors while still meeting performance needs across the board. And so they have a lot of stuff cooking, and their R&D process is what was so impressive. have so much equipment. So Aaron and I are working on a video right now that's going to do a walkthrough of all the equipment and the facility they have. And it seems like they have all their bases covered. They have this massive CT scanner that they run paddles through after they do durability tests with a ball cannon, where they look at grit levels, they look at core integrity, and they can get super granular and fine with it. They have debonding tests. So with foam, one of the big challenges is bonding the face to the core, and they have a machine to test that durability. And so they've been cooking for a long time and building up this R&D process. And like you said, if they're not the people to beat here the next year or so,
zero excuse,
surprised.
Zero excuses, because it's like, for nerds, it's like Tony Stark technology meets pickleball. They got everything. You go in there, it's just like super up to date lab with all these like fancy machines and hundreds of thousands of millions of dollars of equipment. And so if the next paddles come out and stink, like, it will be like, how?
It'll be like, yeah, exactly.
But I don't think so. And again, you just don't have perspective until you see, like, you sit on the sideline. All we have is we can see the paddles that were sent to us, and we just say, we kind of like thumbs up, thumbs down. And I think they've been okay with not being like a prisoner of the moment. Like, they haven't felt the pressure to make a Gen 3 paddle out of break, or a thermoform paddle that just has a warranty and says, like, you know what, if you core crush it in a month or two, we'll just give you another one, the next paddle in line. They have been like more methodical about saying, we would rather be slower, lose headlines, lose press, get ragged on a little bit, and then come out and like blow the market out of the water. But again, like, I think we just haven't seen it, and we're seeing the early stages, the spool up, the freight train, as they like to call it. The train's going faster and faster, and the faster the train goes, the harder it is to slow it down. But I mean, innovation takes time, and again, they're doing all of it domestically, internally, rapidly.
Yeah, having it all on site. I mean, this just felt like the big leagues. This feels like a real sport, real research. It's not this, let's put something together, see how it plays, give it to our buddies, get a sense for it. And it's like, no, they're collecting data, they're doing research, and they build this catalog over time where they have this objective data, they can catalog it, see how things compare, build. But then they also do the other side of it, where they're seeing how the science translates to play. They get the opinions there. They have a whole system built out to get paddles tested by multiple levels. And so they're looking at both sides. It seems like they're doing everything right. And, we got to test some of their prototypes that were pretty exciting. And yeah, it's, I'm a little bit of a Selkirk fanboy right now, and I'm really excited to see what they come up with. But yeah, we're working on that video right now. That's going to be a cool one. And we'll give you guys the behind the scenes of everything, and just the scale of it was kind of
absolutely whoa. 80,000 square foot facility. They have 5 or 6 locations in like a 20-30 mile radius. And when you're touring like a 80,000 square foot facility, like monster height ceilings, like you could park airplanes in this building. Like, you have this real sense that like Selkirk is a powerhouse. And again, like, you see it, like you see Selkirks everywhere, like, oh, Selkirk boomer pickleball. But then you go into this facility and it's like living and breathing, and you're talking to their owners, and like you see the influence and you see the amount of like pull and power that Selkirk has created within pickleball. And so it's like they are like acutely like prepared to like take over pickleball if they want.
Yeah. And how smart of it was of them just to bring in this little small group, very intimate. We're all together, we're asking questions, we're hanging out with the owners. And I get the sense that all of us that were there, so it was Q, the Olsons, Building Pickleball, and us, I think we all went out feeling this way about their process and their potential future. And so they're starting to change their narrative, prepping for the upcoming releases in the next 6 months or whatever it ends up being. And it seems like they're playing their cards right. But yeah, just anyways, it was a lot of fun. And I think a shout out to the owners themselves. You know that they have money. Like, they got to have money. They did not feel like it or come across that way at all. Very humble. You felt like you were hanging out with the guys. They could take a joke. We were making fun of each other, making fun of them the whole time. They were doing it, back at us. And it was just really fun hanging out with them. And then that night when we did the play testing and we did a barbecue, their dad, Jim, he's been running their manufacturing operations for a long time, was there from the beginning. He did the barbecue. They could have, just gotten some catering things. So I thought it was so fun that it was more intimate, more this kind of family style. They had a handful of their employees there hanging out with us. And it was just really cool. These guys are busy dudes. All three of them. There's 3 barns, 3 brothers that are running all the main operations, just hanging out with us all day long.
They spent 12 hours hanging out with us, answering any questions. Like nothing was more important than just like spending time with us, talking pickle, talking industry. You could feel the family business. Absolutely.
Yeah.
It didn't feel, you could tell me this was like a small pickle brand and like, you just felt the closeness and the unity. And I definitely walked away with a lot of favor for Selkirk. And like, I want them to be successful. I want them to win. Like, because again, it's just going to lead to a better paddle market. Like,
Yeah. Their general philosophy of the durability and not making paddles that break in is a big positive, I think, for consumers, for us. All of us have been, speaking that way a little bit over the last year or so, but we just don't have an option. If you want a power paddle that performs well, you have to get a Gen 3. It's just what it's available, right? If you want, to get certain performances, you just kind of have to use what's out there. And so, although we all want things to be a little bit different, and anyways, I think the future's bright, and it's really cool just to see pickleball enter the big leagues like this. It's really fun to see this data-driven approach. They have the tools. You almost, you got the sense like you're at this big golf company where they're doing these really scientific approaches. They have all the equipment to make really cool stuff. And so I think pickleball's got a few years of innovation still. Paddles are going to change a lot. Kyle, I remember you were harping on durability is going to be a big thing, early on this year. You saw that early. And, anyways, that's something they're tackling. They're thinking about. Really cool. And a lot of fun stories, man. Everyone was so relaxed. I think there was some jokes and things that people were saying. I was like, everyone obviously felt comfortable, or I don't think they'd be doing stuff like that. Like John's clamped the shit out of it joke.
Oh my gosh.
Dude, Aaron tell that story. It was so funny.
We're in the ball cannon room. They got like 2 super fancy ball cannons. Obviously, John is like licking his chops. This is like the most. If John could be in one room in America, it would be this room, right? And like they're kind of giving us the spiel, walking us through. They can calibrate, they could do whatever PPL, and then the other Pickle Pro of testing labs, and then they're like they kind of stop and and they're like anybody have any questions about anything? And John, like very stoic, very serious, never very unexpected. He goes, yeah, I have a like a scientific question to ask, and then they look and they're like, yeah, like sure, John, what's the question? He goes, do you clamp the shit out of that? And then the whole room just exploded. He had everyone's attention. He could have I thought he was going to say when you calibrate the defibrillator, right? That's what we were expecting. And man, it was so funny.
Awesome.
It was, the best part was just everyone, he got the room quieted. Everyone had their eyes on John. We're all ready for that great, tough question that only he could ask. And then he does that.
Crushed it.
Oh, it was so great.
But huge shout out to Selkirk for taking time to spend with us. And I don't know, I think that's, at least from my perspective, that's been the best part of pickleball is meeting owners, meeting real people who care about pickleball, who are in it for the right reasons, and who at the end of the day just want to make cool things and talk about cool things. And we're all into pickleball for community, and meeting with Selkirk, at least in my perspective, was all of those same lovely flavors that made us fall in love with this beautiful sport.
Yep. Well, cool. Yeah, more to come on that. Be on the lookout for that video. Few paddles. Somebody going to say something?
Oh, no.
Yeah, so paddles have been coming in like nobody's business last week or so. So paddles that I've received in the last 48 hours. I got the new Volairs V.1F. So they have it's a PET with double fiberglass layers, so a little different flavor there. I haven't hit them yet. I haven't hit any of these, but I do think those could play well.
Squishy handles, though. Squishy handles.
The only squishy, the super long handles were
squishy,
insanely squishy. The normal length handles on mine were fine.
Yeah, mine were okay.
2 of their models have 7-inch handles or something close to that, which is just absurd. I asked Ryan, the owner of Valair, about that, and he just said, yeah, like we're just trying to push the label, see how people react to it, try to attract the tennis thing. Because if you remember early on when they came out with the 5.5 inch Mach 2, they were one of the first to push the boundaries for handle lengths for wide body shapes. And so he's thinking he's doing that again here with these 7-inch, but I don't see a need for 7 inches on any paddle. It just takes up usable space and is unnecessary in my opinion, but that's what his thinking was there. But yeah, so new Valairs, the normal length handle ones could be good.
Yeah, I'd say 7 inches is way too big. Way too big.
It can get too big. And then Rhombus Ripple V2s started hitting people's hands this week.
It's back.
It's back.
Yeah.
I kind of just got old feelings bubbled back up from Ripple days, and so much drama there. But yeah, they're a lot heavier. They changed. I imagine they added more carbon fiber to the rib structures to give it that extra weight and make it so it's more stiff, not as much rebound from the EVA is my guess. But yeah, they're a lot heavier. Early reports from others have been that it is toned down a bit, and it's already been approved. They're launching pretty soon.
Yeah, end of the month, right?
I would say I think June, right? Early June, right?
Early June, end of this month. I didn't write down the date, but yeah, they're coming up quick. And then Holbrook Armas have been covered a little bit in some other paddles. I want to speak to those for a second after this, but those are interesting. Mm-hmm. And then I got all the new shapes in the Franklin C45 series. Aaron, those are going to be coming to you soon. I haven't hit any of these yet, but they're all here. And then there's also, those are just paddles we've received. There's other paddles that are launching very soon here. So you have the Friday Fever. This one here. This one releases May 16th. Mm-hmm. This is a $100 Gen 3 paddle. I've put a good amount of time on this. Aaron, I was thinking of doing a full review with this, hoping for launch, but just too much has been going on, and I want to put a focus on that Selkirk video. So let's crank out the Selkirk video. We're going to postpone this. I might just throw this in a Paddle Blitz video, but regardless, I've been putting quite a bit of time on it. So this is a Gen 3 style, only going to be coming in an elongated shape. The foam is actually extended further, so it is that diving board style, but the foam is down here further. It stops right around this area, so that's longer than most diving board style like Yolas type paddles, but it does come out just about as far as the Yolas do. But mine came in very light. It was right around 7.7, 7.8, so I got it weighted up here, and weighted up brings it to life a bit. Plus, after it kind of gets through that initial break-in period, a lot of these Gen 3s, right, when you first hit them, it feels like an all-court, and then once they get going, they kind of enter that paddle category. But this is the first really true power paddle in that $100 range, and so they're the first one to break that barrier, and it played great, especially once you have it weighted up. It just, plays like Gen 3, a little bit like what you would expect, the power and pops there. Kind of that lower power range. It's not quite Yola. Not too many people have reached the Yola power for whatever reason.
It's probably a good thing,
just gives you a little bit more. Yeah, it's probably a good thing. That means that the break-in will last longer, and it'll be more durable that way. But yeah, that's I'm gonna at least write up an article for that for the launch, because I do think they did a good job. And at $100, that's really tough to beat. Hopefully, they introduce new shapes and stuff down the line. Blucore, May 20th.
Blucore.
Aaron's working on this review. The crux of that one for me is, do they play great? Yes. Do they have the durability benefits? They do. They don't break in. They don't core crush. So you get that. However, they're all control paddles. They're all, even the 14 millimeter standard to me was in that control category, maybe an aggressive control, but still in the control category. And in that control category, you have paddles, a lot of those Gen 1.5 style paddles that perform really well in the control category, like the Prisms. You get the Jelly Beans. They're all these $100 control paddles that play great, and they don't have as big of an issue with durability, right? Because they're that kind of older, or not old, whatever, older gen. They don't have as much heat and pressure. It's part of the process, and so they don't break down as quick. They're going to last you longer than your typical thermoform and Gen 3 style paddle. So the need for durability in the control category isn't as necessary as, say, the power category where everything's Gen 3 and everything breaks down. And so I just don't feel like it fills a need in the market as well as they would hope. I could go get 2 Vatic Prisms, 2 Jelly Beans that are going to both last me, 9 months to a year or longer. So you can get, 2.5, 3 years out of 2 paddles plus get refresh grit. And it just makes the offer for the Blucores a little less attractive to me since they're going to retail for $280. But they do come in lightweight. They do have a little more comfortable feel to them. There are some, benefits if you're looking for something very specific in that control category and you're willing to spend that extra money for the durability. I don't think they're just totally useless, but I don't think it's as like, I got to go get it because it's this super unique performance wise. It just has some those things I said. So that's my thoughts and kind of the crux of my review there. Aaron, you didn't get those. Did you get those, Kyle?
What's funny is they said they sent them to me, but I never got them. And I emailed them back being like, hey, if you really sent them, I didn't get them. So
you can't confirm or deny my thoughts there?
No.
I imagine some people will come out and say these are all quartz, but they are not.
What's the few reasons you would suggest someone goes Blucore over Prism? Outside of money.
So
outside of money.
Outside of money, they are very lightweight. So you can, get the balance you want with them. And the 16 and the 19 millimeter both played very forgiving. So that they have a nice, really like extra comfortable feel. They're lightweight, easy to customize. And I think if you need something that's really easy on your arm, really comfortable, then you could go that route. It's going to be less harmful, I think, vibration wise than like a Jelly Bean or something like that. And so there are those benefits. But yeah, it's pretty niche. But yeah, that's my general thoughts there. And then you have the Luxx Control Air update coming May 22nd.
Yeah.
This one, Kyle, you've been playing this one decent amount, haven't you?
Yeah, I've probably put 15 hours, maybe 20 hours on one.
Yeah, so this is the new one. Here's the original. What they did is they added the Infinigrit to it. So I've talked about this before, but my general impression or idea of Infinigrit at the moment is it's essentially equal to raw carbon fiber in terms of spin and durability. From the little testing I've done, I haven't done anything exhaustive there, but that's my conclusion at the moment. So their Infinigrit does work. They have claims that it's 3 times raw carbon fiber. Some of the stuff they've done, but from that one performance test I did, it seemed on par with raw carbon fiber, which is great for them because then they can get the designs they want, in addition to having the spin that the market wants. And then they changed up the hole a little bit here, and then they made this like portion of the paddle by the throat all foam. So I'll throw up an X-ray, but you can see the foam here down at the bottom, and then they have the core at the top, and they also are just polypropylene at the top, and then they made it 19 millimeters instead of 20, with the idea of the foam added a little bit weight, so they needed to trim down the overall weight of it a little bit, so it's 19 millimeters. But general impressions from me, Kyle, I'll let you add your thoughts to it. It's more of an aggressive control style now. I would call this a pure control paddle. This does give you a little bit more offense. It gives you more spin, but not enough to bump it out of the control category. When you hit this thing dead center, it's much more dense, much more plush versus kind of the softer, hollowy feel of the original. So you get a more dense. I prefer the feel of it. You still have just that okay sweet spot. It's as you did with the originals. It's a little bit heavier, and so you can't customize it as well. And so there is some drawbacks there, but it's not too heavy. I don't remember what the swing weight was of this, but those are kind of my first impressions of this. What do you think, Kyle?
So I felt like the sweet spot was a little bit bigger, still small. Definitely dies off when you get towards the top of the paddle. You might be able to fix that with some weight, but like you said, it's already pretty heavy. I think mine came at 8.2 or something like that, maybe 8.3. But I felt more forgiving, definitely more power. The 19 millimeter is definitely noticeable compared to the 20. Spin was great. And again, I don't know if like maybe the sweet spot feels bigger because when the first Luxx came out, I was worse at pickleball too. So like, we've all gotten better. But I think it's definitely if you like the Luxx, I think it's a huge upgrade over the first one. And it would be a solid buy if you already like that paddle for sure. And the Luxx is a very popular paddle.
The Luxx is their most popular seller. They told us that a couple of times that their control paddle sells the most. So I do have the swing weights up here now. The swing weight is heavier than the original, but it's still fine at 117. So mine weighed mine was 8 ounces straight up, then weighed 117 swing weight. Yours is probably closer to 119 swing weight.
Yeah.
With your 8.2 ounce. But the original was 115, so only 2 points. So you get a little 2-point jump, but it's, as far as elongated paddles go, that's still a very healthy swing weight range, a little more expected right there in that 117 to 119 range. So it's not heavy per se as compared to elongated paddles, but is a little bit heavier than the original. But the sweet spot was probably about the same. But yeah, definitely an improvement in spin, and I liked the improved feel of that more dense, more dampened feel. Okay, last paddle I want to talk about is the Arma. So this is Holbrook. Holbrook came out with those edgeless paddles with the internal weighting that, as far as edgeless paddles go, got some attention. Though they didn't pick up, they weren't just gravitated to
the arrow,
the arrows. But they've been hinting that they have something new coming out. They tried to do that event in St. George to come talk about this paddle. It unfortunately just didn't work out for a lot of us. But they've sent out samples, so I have all their shapes in their new Arma. And what they did here that was really cool is they sent this, I don't know what you call it, what the paddle looks like before it goes into the mold, so you can see how it's built.
Sweet.
Which is really, really fun. No one's ever done this. So what we're looking at here is this top piece is smaller cells. This is 8mm cells, and then at the bottom, kind of in the center to the bottom, is 10mm cells. So they're calling it a dual density core, where they're mixing these densities. So bigger 10mm cells are known for giving you a little more pop, a little more power, while the smaller cells are more consistent, less jumpy, a little more control oriented. So they said the idea of it is you'll use these bigger cell cores to get more power and things from the baseline. And then when you're at the net and you're reaching in and you're flicking and you need to take a little pace off with speed ups or something, where you're using more of the tip of your paddle because you're leaning in, you're going to engage the smaller cells and get a little more control in your offense there, instead of it just kind of jumping away from you. So the idea of it is cool, but it's like, man, are you going to get inconsistent jumps from this if I'm playing defense where I don't necessarily have enough time to pick where I hit the ball in the face? And so that could be a little weird. That'll be something I'll be paying attention to. And then around the perimeter, they have, you can feel it here. It's this soft foam, and then it's encased in carbon fiber. And when you look at the x-ray, that expands quite a bit. So there's a lot of foam here. I think the power, I was just hitting it against my wall, and you can tell that it's got some pop on it. And so initial impressions is could be more juicy. Kyle's giving me crap for saying
there
juicy.
it is. Bingo. We got a bingo.
juicy.
But I think the power of this paddle is coming from the extra foam around the perimeter. So there's less foam on the sides, more here at the top. Mm-hmm. You can kind of see the difference there. But anyways,
fascinating.
The idea is cool. I think it could be fun. I have them sending them some to you, Aaron. Kyle, I don't know if you've been interfacing with Holbrook.
I just got them yesterday.
Okay, so are they going to send you one or two?
I just got the Arma. I just got the Armas yesterday in the mail.
Oh, sweet.
Kyle, let us know if you need us to send you some.
So, well, I only got elongated. Tyler asked if I wanted elongated or standard, so I asked for elongated.
But there's some new innovation there that could be fun. And then of course with this is essentially a Gen 3 style paddle, so durability was something you have to be paying attention to. But yeah, those are all the things. I had it on the agenda here to talk about the Wilson Vespers, but I'll talk about those next week. We went over an hour, like it always ends up being. But there we go. That'll wrap it up for us. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Aaron, Kyle, thank you guys.
Have a great day, guys.
Peace.